All right, so tonight we're going to talk about hopefully all of the things that we've already heard kind of shared, things we've had a little bit of discussion as people were coming in, but know that if we don't touch on this, we absolutely would love to hear your questions at the end, and hopefully, time willing, we will have time to do that in a little bit more personalized way if we need to as well. So today we're going to talk about understanding your child's unique voice. We know that we all communicate in our own ways. We're all unique in our own beings, and that does not limit to just like our interests and what we like to do and who we communicate with, but the way that we do that as well. So we will start there.
Okay, and I'll go over our agenda points for tonight. We're going to be discussing how to model language in specific scenarios. We'll be talking about how we can introduce new vocabulary. We'll talk about language during everyday routines for that high frequency boost. We're talking about using books to promote language, and we bought a variety of books, not just like paper books. We have the polka dot books and the motion activated books, everything we need to gauge their attention and keep them motivated during a traditional or interactive book. How to motivate your kids to communicate, and of course, we're going to be wrapping up with questions at the end.
Okay, so to start out here, when we think about communicating, the thing that we hear as speech therapists the most is they're not saying it, they're not communicating, right? So the basis of all of that struggle is we're just not getting that message. Whether that message is what you want, what's wrong, what you need, it's not coming out. And so we hear a lot, and this is such an instinctive thing that we as humans do, is that we want to say this, right? So let's say I want the car, okay? And we see all the time, say car, here, you want it? Say car, right? And that feels so much like a demand. That's so hard. And we want communication to be an even exchange. So we want the child to be able to say something, and we're going to say something. And when we hear what they have to say, we're going to respond. And when they hear what we say, we're going to respond to that. It's an exchange, a turn-taking opportunity. So the best way, and we're going to start here and think about this as we go through the rest of these slides. So this is very foundational. We're going to say the word. So let's say it's car, and I am so sorry, but I'm going to model to you because I just need another human to do that. So you really want this car today. So we're going to say the word. So let's say, showing me, I really want this, grabbing for it, bringing my hand over to it, showing me some way to communicate that this is it. This is what I want. I'm going to say car, then I'm going to wait. And we all know our children. Some kids need a little bit more time to think that through. Some kids, you better move quick or they're moving on, right? So you know your child best. So just wait. Give the amount of time they need. Then we're going to say it again. So car, and then I'm going to give it to them. And I'm not going to withhold it. I'm not going to say, no, you didn't say it. I'm giving them that opportunity to take that turn. So car. Car, there you go. Yep. And then it's so it's easy. There's no pressure. We're modeling without expectation. So we're giving them the opportunity to take that turn, and then we move on. We have the word sabotage up here. That sounds really harsh. But really, what we're trying to do is find those opportunities, right? So let's say car is here. Well, she's just going to get it, right? That's fine. Totally fine. And that's good. That's life, right? We're not going to set up these opportunities all day, every day. But we can find those little moments where we can build a few more opportunities. So let's say I'm holding it, or maybe it's up here on this imaginary shelf I have here, right? And so we can talk about that. We'll sabotage. Maybe we want a snack, so I'm going to give them 2 goldfish. Not all of it, just 2. Or, give them the milk with that much, right? They're going to want more. And so it's an opportunity for you to practice. It's not an opportunity for them to fail at it or be wrong or in some way be told, nope, can't have it, right? But it's an opportunity for you to model and practice. And so keep that in mind as we're going through all of these things. This is that foundational, present it, give them that opportunity to try, and then we'll move on.
Thank you, Anne. Along with what Anne is saying, it's also important that children do not receive negative feedback when we're placing an expectation on them. If you want them to say car, we as speech therapists understand that they may not say it the first time. They may not say it the 10th time. It may have to happen with a lot of repetition. He may not say car immediately, but maybe he wants to sing the wheels on the bus. So maybe there's an alternative to the way that he's going to tell you, ooh, I want that car. Like maybe he'll sing wheels on the bus, or maybe he can say beep, beep. And that indicates, oh, I know when he says beep, beep, it's because he wants his car. So we always want to make sure that the feedback that you're giving the child is reinforcing. It's positive, it's reinforcing, it's encouraging them to open up and kind of tell you in their own way at that moment how they want to request or how they want to comment. Going back to our initial point, we communicate in different ways. Communication is not simply talking. A lot of you know that by now. Communication is an entire compass, right? It's gestures, it's facial expressions, it's body language, it's my tone of voice, right? It's a variety of things. And we have to make sure that when we say that our children are like, oh, he's just not talking enough. I don't know what he's trying to say. He's not getting the words out. Behavior can also be a form of communication, right? You've seen that. Behavior can be just as effective sometimes. And we're going to talk about how we're going to shape those behaviors into making it functional so that he can communicate in a more effective way and you can give that positive reinforcement.
Okay, so for children that do have a word, and this word could be on an AAC device, it could be on a tablet, it could be a gesture, it could be a sign, however they're getting that message across to us, when we have that, we want to praise that. That is wonderful. We want to say it back, right? So like Raisa said, maybe they're singing wheels on the bus go, and you're going to join right in. Oh yeah, because there's nothing more validating than hearing that somebody understood, right? So you're going to validate that by saying it back, joining in. This is, wow, we're doing this together. And then it's an opportunity for us as the adult, and this can be an older sibling, anyone who can model this language, to jump in there and kind of show them what goes next, right? And there's no right or wrong in how we do this. So our example here is, let's say the child goes, yellow. I go, oh, it's yellow. Yeah, you just repeat it right back. So I said yellow again, but I added a little bit more. Or I could say, oh, wow, yellow, or, car, yellow, ramp, yellow, whatever it is. You can add on to that. Maybe they're saying milk, right? So you say milk, and oh yeah, milk please, or let's get the milk, or oh my milk, more milk, whatever it is.
Drink milk.
You can, drink milk. You're going to add all of that in there to kind of show them, and it can be hard at first because our instinct, again, as humans, is just to say like please, right? So we'll just say, oh yeah, milk please, yes, yellow please, mom please, whatever it is. We can build a lot more there too. So this we call scaffolding, and it's just kind of showing them. It validates, and then it shows them what comes next.
And we want to validate their efforts at trying to say something, because he or she may not be able to say please just yet, but maybe they can sign please. Maybe that's the alternative. Maybe that's what I can do. And sometimes that's going back to the feedback. Sometimes when the child is not producing what the target is, what you're wanting them to produce, you have to know how to kind of shift and say like, okay, well, he didn't say more milk, but he can sign drink, and he can do milk, and he can put those two together, and reinforcing what they can do and just building on it, right? We're going to talk about how to expand by adding one word to something that they said. I like the example that you're using about the ramp. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You're using about the ramp, like if his only word, or he or she, if their only word is car, what are some different ways that I can combine car with one more word? And you guys can throw things out there like go car, right? Would that be one? What else can I do? If the kid can only say one word and the word is car, what could you model or attach the car to make it a two-word combination? Yep. Drive car. Yes. What else can we say? My car. What else can we say? What else can we attach the car? Because we're trying to get them to expand, right? And all he can say at this time is car, 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 and always be sure to try a variety, because maybe I want him to say my car, but he can't say my car, or he can't sign my car. Give an alternative and let him know like, okay, buddy, if that one didn't work, I have a plan B for you. I have another choice for you, right? That's going to eliminate a lot of the frustrations, Because if your expectation of them is rigid to just give that one model and you don't have anything else to offer, if they can't do that one, that's where you see a lot of behaviors come up. Okay. Yeah, I think we talked a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Go, Car.
Did you want to take this one?
Sure. We can work on naming or labeling things throughout various categories. A lot of the things that we see with children on a first-time basis, parents are really eager to tell us, especially during evaluations, what the child can say. He says all his numbers. He knows all his colors. Tell her the colors. He knows all the colors in the rainbow. He knows indigo and fuchsia. He knows all the colors, right? They're really excited about what the kid can do. And then I'll say like, okay, and where else, where can we expand? Where can we get you to 50, 60, 80 words, right? Parents kind of come in and they say like, well, I don't know. We do our flashcards every day and he says the colors and he labels all of them. And I say, great, now we're going to introduce another category, right? What are some things that we do on an everyday basis that we can introduce as an additional category to get more vocabulary into their receptive language, right? Even if they're just hearing it at the beginning. So I'll say like, what about when they're getting dressed? Are you narrating? Like, let's get our shirt on, my shirt, hands up, pants, shoes on, let's get our shoes. You repeat it, you have the frequency, you keep modeling, you keep doing the gestures, you combine it, you do the signs. Sooner or later, you're gonna see, oh, you know what, today I was getting him dressed and he said shirt. And I've been telling him shirt for the past month and he said shirt today. So introduce more language within your daily routine. Those daily routines, I call them it's a golden ticket. You know why? Because they happen every day. You have an opportunity to work on it every day. Who wakes up and gets dressed every day? Who eats every day? Who takes a bath every day? No judgment. Everybody, right? Right? So those are opportunities where we can really capitalize on introducing more language, more vocabulary, because you have all these high occurring opportunities to introduce the language within things that you're already doing. A lot of parents will say like, oh, I don't have the time. Like, we're so busy. We did our flashcards. And I'm like, but you have an everyday routine that you can work with, right? Maybe if he says, wash hands, maybe you can work on toothbrush. Maybe you can work on towel. Maybe you can work on bath, right? So just getting them the awareness and the understanding that there's more language out there, right? Instead of just repeating the same ones over and over, or just waiting for the child to kind of emerge on their own. We have to model, we have to narrate, we have to make opportunities out of our everyday routine.
And to go off that too, we hear a lot of these academic concepts, right? Like school readiness, getting the kids, they're going to preschool, they're going to kindergarten. They have to know this. They have to know this, right? We hear that phrase. But what they really need is like language for life. And that's the thing that we see a lot in working with families over the last over a decade here. We see that that's often missing. So we focus so much on those like, do they know the letters in their name? Do they know the colors? Do they know the
letters, colors, numbers?
Right.
Those are the top three.
Or like, even, I feel like animals comes up, right? But then all those other categories of just like things in the kitchen, like kitchen utensils, right? Like we're in there, we're making food, we're helping cook, knowing all of that and exposing all that vocabulary too. So really challenging ourselves to think of what are all those categories we can get to.
Furniture,
yeah.
Furniture is a big one. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so going off of that, when we think about categories, one of those is verbs. So all the things we talked about were nouns. We're going to quiz you. We're going to go back to Schoolhouse Rock here, and we're going to teach you about verbs and adjectives and nouns. But does anyone need a review on that? We'll kind of get there. So nouns, people, places, things, right? Verbs, action words, and then adjectives are describing. But we know nouns are usually those first things we hear. The first words that are meaningful because they're usually attached to a request or a demand, right? So I want that. That's an easy thing to communicate. That's usually what we kind of see first emerge, regardless of age, regardless of developmental level, and regardless of how we're communicating, how that message is being conveyed. But something that we often miss are those action words. And they're so, so important because that's how we start to build language. And so things like go, like Raisa was modeling car, go. Go is a super versatile word. It could mean we're going to go, the car is going to go, I got to go, whatever. You know, it can be used in a lot of different ways. But those action words are the glue that can start putting all of those noun categories together. And so it's important not to forget those. Those are great. And to go into those adjectives. So like beyond colors, what are other ways we can describe things, right? Like, what is a storm? Well, I guess it's done now, but it's loud, it's scary, it's wet, right? It's not just gray, which I guess it is too, but there's other words that we can use to describe that. And sometimes we'll see this, there's kids that we see, and adults too, in this learning model, where a phrase might make more sense. And so you'll sometimes see this called gestalt language processing. We've seen that a lot in literature. That's, you know, pretty up and coming. But the idea is basically that context is needed to understand. And so maybe I don't understand car alone, but if it's go alone, but if it's ready, set, go, I sure do, because now I have that context. It's familiar. I've heard it on a show. It has some fun intonation to it that's going to really pull me in. And so that's where we can bring in some of these verbs as well, is kind of embedding it into that whole phrase that we're modeling.
And we're back to our daily routines. All right. Somebody in the audience, pick a routine and we'll role play. Somebody want to pick a routine? Anybody?
Well, none of you bathe daily. Should we do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. You said play.
Play. Yeah.
Play. Are we okay? Are we okay with play? Okay. Sure. So play it's pretty broad. We have a couple things here.
Sure.
Can I model with this one? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a kid favorite. If you don't have this at home, I highly recommend that you put it on your Amazon list. It is a favorite. Ooh, don't do that. All right, who wants to come up and play? Do you want to come up here? No? Okay.
You have a willing partner. Oh, Beth, there we go.
You will? I love it. Thank you. Hi, friend.
Hi.
All right, very good. Very good. All right, so we can model here. Like, what's something that you would say to your child? How old is your child?
4.
4. What's something I would say to my child here if I was trying to play with this?
I would say spin.
Nice. Take off. Right. My turn. Okay, so let's get that off.
Another fun one that I would probably say right now is uh-oh, because it's not working.
Uh-oh. Oops.
Oops. Uh-oh. Those
I
are
say that
fun.
a lot. We say that a lot in speech. Oops. Very good. Okay. All right. So you're going to be my model. And we're just going to pretend that we're playing, okay? So how would you make a request if you wanted this one? I can give you a choice. Do you want pink or
Should I act like I'm my daughter right
Sure.
You do whatever you want. Yeah.
why not, without the
Don't hit
aggression.
her, please.
now? I will not bite you, I promise.
Pink or yellow? Pink. Oh, pink. Oh, you want pink. And is she reaching or pointing?
She can do both. She usually reaches.
Okay, so you'll want to take her hand if she's flexible enough, and you'll want to shape that into a pointer because that's an effective way of communicating you want something versus just an actual open hand reach. And you say, "Oh, you said you wanted pink. Okay, you get pink. You put pink on." Okay, so go ahead, pink on.
You would struggle with getting it on.
Let me know if you need help.
You would usually go,
Oh, okay. Oh, you're saying you need help? Okay, you can give it to me. Okay, and can you model help?
Yeah.
Help. Can you do help?
Or
Help. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can do hand over hand.
Yeah.
Help, right? Oh, you said help. Okay, I'm happy to help. Here, now I'm going to take your hand and bring it over. Very good. Ready, set, what is go! So you kind of wait and give the anticipation because I like what you were, she was doing the joint attention. You were kind of looking at me like, oh, what is she going to do next? What is she going to do next? Where that connection was there, you're waiting for me to say something. You're waiting for me to prompt. You're waiting for me to give direction, right? Notice that I have all my materials here. This is another thing that we were talking about earlier in terms of sabotage. I never have materials at their disposal entirely. They're always with me. They have to request the materials. They're with me. If you want to play, you can, but you have to make a request, right? So did you want to play more, or are you all done?
You would usually reach up.
Perfect.
Okay, so you do want more, right? Good telling me. So you would model more, or you would take her hands and do more? Oh, good
Or
telling me more.
in however she's communicating. So if it's a vocalization or it's an AAC device or something, getting that model. And you know, some kids are needing us to kind of model quick and move on, and we'll do that as well too.
Or if it's just the sound, right? She could just do that. Green, red. That was a perfect point. Look, we taught her the point. Look at that, very good. You don't need my help anymore. Good job telling me green. Nice. Okay, who's gonna go? Me or you? Oh, you. Okay, then you need to tell me. You. Me, right? You would say me. Okay, good, good. So I'm kind of responding to the communication that she's already giving, but I'm shaping it, I'm forming it, I'm redirecting it, right? Go ahead, you can make it go down. We don't have to do all of these, but go ahead. Okay, can I do one? Yes, okay, I'll do one. 1, 2, 3, go. Very nice. All right, I'll have you do one more and then we'll be all done. So are you going to do blue or red? Red? Yes, please. Okay, you said please. Nice. Nice looking at me. Nice showing me please. Very good. Your feedback is always specific, right? A lot of parents will say, good job. Good job. Good job saying please. Good looking at me. Good reaching for that, right? You want your feedback to be specific because you want to carry on that behavior. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A parent asks, what do I do if my child is not interested in the toy that I'm trying to get them to play with?
Yeah, and that can be so hard because we just want to know what is motivating, right? The biggest piece of advice I can give is that it might not be something that would be motivating to us. And so to me, as an adult, or when I was 2 or 3, I probably would have loved this, right? I actually still like it very much as an adult. I think it's a great toy. But that just might not do it for some kids. And there might be something else that they like. And so it takes us, we really have to get to know our kids.
And get the rapport.
And figure out, like, what is it? What is that thing? I mean, maybe it is turning the lights on and off in that room. Like, when those lights go on and off, that is the best, right? And that is what I'm motivated for. Or maybe it's that on the window, I'm watching, like, condensation come down. And it's really fascinating. And that's super cool to look at. I might not even notice that, to be honest. I probably wouldn't even notice, but sometimes kids do, and that's what they're interested in. Or there's like a really cool reflection. And that's the thing that I see. And so we have to spend time when we're working with children to figure out, what is that thing? Like, what's their thing, right? Maybe it's a specific song. Maybe it's a noise. I mean, I've had plenty of kids over the years that the thing that they love more than anything is like a funny sound, like a siren or something, right? Or I had a kid once that loved church bells. That was like our thing, okay? We would just talk about church bells. We bring in bells, we bring bells. It was just bells. And so is it fascinating to me? No. Was it ever in my life? I don't know, maybe. But the things that we traditionally associate with childhood and what kids like, it might not be it. And so it's really up to us to figure out, what is it that, like, what is bringing them joy in their day? Something is. We just have to figure out what it is. And then we have to tie communication opportunities to that. So, like, I know it sounds like a complicated one, but the dew on the window, right? It's coming down. That's when I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to go across. Wow, I'm going to make a really cool noise. I'm not requesting. I'm not demanding anything. I'm just joining in their excitement and joy about the fact that there's water on the window, okay? And I'm just going to go, wow, or maybe, up, woo, and I'm going to make some cool noises to kind of go with it and draw that attention in and see if I can get some of that joint excitement. Okay, they're excited about what they're seeing, and can I build a connection with them and find something to communicate about with that, whatever that is.
Yeah. You know what? And that's a really good question. I'll take the time now to answer it a little bit too. If that's
absolutely.
I just want to add a little bit
to
what you're saying. Thank you, Anne. That's a really good question, because even for us as professionals, that happens to us a lot. I've had whole sessions where I've tried 5, 6, 7 different toys. And you know what the child liked? Nothing. None of the toys. He liked none of them. But you know what I let the child know? He understood that I kept trying. Flexible. He understood that I was willing to give another choice. I was willing to try another one. It's okay. Okay, you know what? Maybe we need to take a break. Let's take a bubble break. Let's just put on some music. Once you've been working with children for a certain amount of time, you have kind of like an inventory in your head of what children typically like, will typically gravitate to. You have your SLP toolbox, right? These are the things I show up with. These are things that are super popular, top 5. I bring my top 5. But if there's something that you don't like, then you can always rely on the family to say, hey, we tried these things today. There really wasn't anything motivating or engaging. Is there something that he really loves? I had a kid one time that he just loved to play with the buttons on the microwave, right? And none of the toys I had were like a microwave. So next time we brought a microwave. And next time he knew I was the teacher. He knew I was going to work with him. He knew I had the toy he wanted. He was willing to engage with me. You have to establish the rapport and not give up. Just understand, like, okay, we're going to work through this. Maybe you need a break. Maybe you're all done. Maybe we can only work for 30 minutes today. Next time, we're going to go a little longer. But it's communicating to the child that you have the desire to help them, to meet them where they are, right? Another thing that I want to add to that is that sometimes I present like visuals so they can make a choice from the visual board. Like, hey, there's nothing you wanted here. Look at these pictures. Is there anything on here that you wanted? You can touch it or point. So providing like a visual choice board as well is another way to do that. But sometimes everything you use is not going to work, and that's okay, because you're flexible and you're willing to try again. You're not going to give up, right? So going back to the routines, bath time. I love bath time. It's sensory. Most kids love water, right? You know what else I like about bath time? It's contained. No elopement. He's not running down the hallway, right? He's contained. He's in the shower. He's in the tub, right? You can capitalize on bath time. There's so much you can do. You can add colors to the water. You could change out the toys that you're using in the bathtub. You could easily sing about what you're doing. This is the way we wash our hands, wash our nose, wash our hair, wash our arms. Easily, you can integrate that into bath time, because it's an everyday experience, and it's something that they're going to traditionally sit through, right? If it's a younger child, they're going to be sitting in the bathtub, right? So you have more of the upper hand using bath time as a language experience. Mealtime, snack time. If it's a younger child, sometimes they're in high chairs, right? So again, they're contained in a high chair. You can present one item at a time or a couple items at a time, maybe a couple fruit snacks, and then prompt each time they want more, instead of just giving them the whole bag, or instead of just saying like, here's your little sippy cup, like you'll take two of them and then I'll give you more, but you have to tell me more, right? There's a lot of prompting in meal times. We did the demo of the playtime and bedtime. Bedtime is a good one to kind of have an everyday routine where we're like, okay, what do we do when it's bedtime? We take a shower, we put on our pajamas, we sing our song, walking to bed. Me and mommy sit down, we read a book, right? I love attaching books to bedtime. I think beds should come with books like in them because I think they're wonderful.
Apparently it's available on the market.
No, seriously. I think it's something.
I love that.
Because it's an opportunity where the child associates. I know that when I go to sleep tonight, me and mommy are going to have our book time, or me and daddy are going to have our book time. You know, and she doesn't even like read it to me, but she lets me press all the buttons. And I love them. And she talks a little bit, but I get to press all the buttons, right? And it's a daily routine that they look forward to, that now you have a platform where you can provide different language models. And every day or every week, I have a different variety of books with different categories, right? Different vocabulary, different words, different actions, different thoughts, different types of modeling. So you want to incorporate that into your daily routine because that's your golden ticket. Maybe you're not at school with your child all day long. Maybe you're at work, right? But these things you still have to do with your child, right? You have to make sure they eat. You have to make sure they take a bath. So this is your time. This is your time to introduce that language.
On this, we've talked about the daily routines, how we're adding in that language. And even when we're talking about the play, like that moment that we described there and that Beth was gracious enough to come up and help us with, that's kind of those like moments where we decide, you know what, we're going to stop and we're going to work on this now. Then there's like the rest of the day. We're not expecting you to be able to do that exact, replication there all day, every day with every opportunity for play and every opportunity for food and everything they could possibly need. Those are those small moments that we build throughout the day where we say, you know what, we're for 5 minutes, we're going to do this, or for 2 minutes, or maybe we do it 2 minutes now and 2 minutes before bed. We're going to focus on language at our bedtime routine or in the bath. We're going to find those times. But something that we can do all those other times is narrate what we do. And this feels really strange until you do it, and then it just becomes part of your natural life. So let's say I'm coming over here and say, oh, here's our paper. Oh, you know what? I'm going to put it back together. Here, I'm going to give it to you. Okay, thanks. I'm going to push the chair in. Here it goes. Oh, it's so heavy. There goes the chair, right? I'm just talking to myself. But think about all the vocabulary that I just did. I had an action word. I did a pronoun to her. I'm going to give it to you. She followed a direction. I talked about the chair being heavy. I'm going to push it. I labeled the chair. I combined some words. And there was no expectation. I did hand her that, but there was no expectation that Raisa was going to repeat any of that. But she heard me narrating all that wonderful language. And so think about yourself in the grocery store, right? It's not an ideal time to be wrangling a child in a grocery store, but they're there with you. So we're gonna make the most of it, right? You're going down the aisle. Oh, what do we need to get today? Oh, there's those apples. Oh, they look so good. Let's get the red ones. Let's see, I'm going to count. We're going to get one. Oh, can we put it in the bag? Can you help mommy open? Good job. Okay, let's put them in. Right? All the words are just coming out. Everything I'm doing, I'm narrating, and I'm not expecting the child to necessarily say anything. Maybe they join in, they participate, but they're hearing all of that language. So narrating what we're doing, describing, adding comments, like we did earlier, our favorite is to point out our mistakes, right? Oops, uh-oh, ew, oh, yuck, ouch, right? When those things happen, we want them to be joyful and modeled, and those are sometimes things we want to repeat the first things we want to repeat. Please know that everything we're suggesting, we 100% do not expect you to go and just be perfect at this every moment of the day, right? Maybe a model for 30 seconds when you're pushing the cart into the store, and then that's all we get. And that's okay. But you're going to be deliberate and intentional with what you can get, and totally acknowledge that there's going to be times where, just like with this, the model with the play, we're not going to replicate that all day. If we can plan that and we're going to find those moments, we're going to do it, that's great. But then there's life and reality, and you got to make dinner and all the other things, right? So, there's this, you take this and you're going to sprinkle it in. This is not like a full change.
And you're feeding your child receptively. I think when people come to us, they're more so concerned, right? They're concerned about everything, but they're more so concerned about, well, he's not talking. He doesn't tell me what he wants. I don't know what he wants. I just don't know what he wants. I don't know. He gets frustrated. He throws things. But you're feeding them receptively. There's receptive language and there's expressive language. So when you're narrating, you're feeding the receptive part of it, right? You don't want to neglect or overlook the other side too. So you're feeding when you're narrating. Think of it, you're feeding your child outside of mealtime. See, you're feeding them receptively.
And that could be something, we talk about behavior and transitions and things that can be challenging, where we really put language around that and help them to understand what's happening. Giving them clear first then, giving them expectations. Sometimes we'll use social stories to help kind of model some of that as well. And that basically just kind of narrates what's going to happen. Preparing, planning ahead for a new adventure, and maybe that new adventure is just going to the dentist, and just talking about what that's going to look like and what the sounds are, and get that vocabulary in there ahead of time, so that, because if you think about it, if you've never been to a dentist and you go to a dentist and there's something about it you don't like, you have no way of talking about it because no one's ever taught you these words and you have no context for it. So how am I going to say that, it's this is even a dentist, or that's a dentist chair? I might not recognize it as a chair. It doesn't look like a chair in my house. I might not know that. Right. And so getting those kinds of things, narrating that and teaching that ahead of time can be helpful.
Pre-teaching.
Yeah, exactly.
Books. Of course, I'm going to do the book part. Of course, books. So interactive books. A lot of our feedback that we get from the community is that we try introducing books, and sometimes they say like, well, I don't know, like he kind of just turns the pages, or he rips the pages, right? And we say, and they're like, he doesn't like books, because every time I try to do a book with him, he doesn't like it. And we'll say, right, that's where we step in and we'll say, oh, but there's so many different types of books. Like, did you try this book? Let me go get one. Let me go get the polka dot book. I have yet to meet a child who's not interested in a polka dot book. Loves the polka dot book. We're trying to shape the pointer. We're trying to get them to identify a picture just by adding a little book. It's a concrete book. It's a hard stock. It has that little bubble, has the sound effect. And all of a sudden, it's like magic. They're like, yeah, but I like that book. So it's trying more than one type of book, because there's so many different books that are available. Like we have the voice activated one, right? They love pushing those buttons, and it's doing the narration for you.
It's modeling language,
right? So sometimes they love that, and sometimes they won't take to it initially the way you want them to. But if this is something that's going to draw them in and have them be okay with having a book presented to them, then that's a start. That's a first step to introducing a variety of books, right? So we often say, like, these books are from prettybooks.com, PRIDDY. First Words, Let's Talk, Touch and Feel, with all the different like textures. There's a Lift the Flap, right? They may like this one page where they're having the window go up and down, and parents will say, I get this a lot with the bilingual community. They'll say like, I know we don't really do the books because they're in English, and I mean I'm not gonna read English to him, right? And I'll say, but you just want to show him the pictures. You just want to label the pictures. You don't have to read the text, because, Molly's 2, and she doesn't know what the text is saying. You're just going to model up, down, turn the page, right? It's looking at books in a different way versus like the traditional, like I have to read the book to the child, right? And it all depends on their age. Maybe they are reading, but maybe they have attention trouble, right? There's a lot of attention, right? With the social media. This is not my tablet. I don't want to look at that. I don't want that book, right? But it's interactive. It has them do something. They want to see what's on the next page, right? The vivid colors, the like motion activated, the sounds. So it's introducing a variety of books to your child and seeing which one they're most likely to gravitate towards. I always say, if you really want your child to try a book, like pick a book, add an incentive. So you know what? If mommy can do What's on My Farm tonight, tomorrow we're gonna go to practice. So provide that. And depending on how old if you have a 10-year-old, right, and you're like, I cannot get him to do this book. There's this book he has to do. I cannot get him to sometimes it's okay to offer the incentive, right? We as adults do that. You know what? I really would love for you to try this. I think you can do it. I believe in you. I know that it's only going to take 5 minutes, right? And once we get this done tomorrow, we're going to go to
Raisa's never been, apparently.
Field trip.
And maybe it's a field trip. Yeah, so it could be a more immediate thing as well, too.
Right.
I mean, maybe it's the tab, right? Or maybe it's the tablet. It could be.
Right.
But something, just to kind of build that opportunity to expand the interest a little bit.
Right.
Or find a book, if they have a really strong interest in tractors, there's some really great books on tractors, and, kind of connect to what what it is your kid is really interested in. I have a very good friend. Her daughter's very interested in the human body, and from this library here in Lakewood has checked out most like teen to adult books on the human body and is fascinated. And that's great. She's 5, but she loves it.
Anatomy.
And yeah, and that's what she wants to talk about. So, that's not all she's doing, but it's finding that interest.
Yes. Another thing we want to talk about in book world is that we find that children will more likely, right? Because we're introducing books frequently. We find that they like books that are repetitive, like Pete the Cat, Brown Bear. Those are less intimidating to a child who maybe has a little bit of a speech delay. It's less intimidating to them. Why? Because they hear it over and over. It kind of has a rhythm to it. She knows what's going to come next, right? There's no surprises. I know it's Brown Bear. What do you see? Right? So they know, and you read it over and over, and they tend to gravitate towards that more often just because it kind of has like that little rhyme and rhythm to it. So sometimes we challenge our parents to say like, they'll try a couple different books, and we'll say, well, try an interactive one. Try a repetitive one. You know what? The book is highlighting Pete the Cat today. Why don't you go get one of the Pete the Cats? And then after you're done with that, because you have a child that really likes the social media and they really like the tablets and the internets, after we're done, first we read the book, and then we'll go watch the video on YouTube. Right? I'm creating an opportunity where like, you're going to be flexible with me. I'll give you what you want, but you're going to give me what I want, right? We're going to create that opportunity. Okay. If you want to see it there, that's fine. We're going to do it first, and then we can watch 3 videos on YouTube about it. Is that okay with you? We'll answer some questions about it. So you learn how to negotiate with a child, right? To present literature, emerging literature.
To wrap up here, we'll go back to this idea of making communication motivating. So we kind of talked about this a little bit in the middle of the presentation, but the one thing that I wanted to touch on here that I don't think we have really gone into yet is remembering that language is not only asking for things. So we've talked about these other points here, but a big takeaway is that we're not just always looking for language to say what I want. Language is fun. Language is silly. Language is songs, and it's books, and it's fun rhyming things and silly made up words that aren't real, and that's okay. But that is all language. Language is also gestures. Language is facial expressions. It's body language. It's all of these things.
Right.
And so when we think of it that way, and we don't focus our attention just on language being a single word, a verbal word, and we accept that it is all of those things. I mean, maybe it's not only is it the song, but maybe Raisa's singing Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I, and I can't say oh, but I go and I kind of go up, right? I'm joining in. I'm matching the intent of it. It kind of sounds like it. It's not the same word, and that's okay.
Right.
But remembering to find the thing, like we talked about, that brings the child joy, that they're excited about, they want to communicate about, and then putting things in there that we can model that are going to kind of meet them where they're at with it. And one way to kind of turn away motivation from a child is to immediately do that demand we talked about at the very beginning, say this, say this, say that. It immediately sounds like you're demanding and you're asking something, and that is just going to put pressure on the child. That is going to make this even harder. And so making it fun, putting the words there, you're narrating, you're talking about what you're doing and what you see, you're incorporating it in books and all the other things we've talked about. The best way we have found as speech therapists to kind of break in there and help children to get those ideas out. Anything that
a lot of parents usually tell me like, he loves Coco Melon, he loves The Wheels on the Bus. I'm like, okay, so we can sing some song. They're like, well, he doesn't talk, so he's not singing, but he hums it. Right? And you start singing, he's like, I'm like, okay, well, we have a first step. I have something that I can work with. That's great that he knows the tune, he knows the song, he recognizes the lyrics, right? You've fed him receptively, right? You've done that part. Another thing that we do is we complete a closed task, right? What's a closed task, right? If I say like, the wheels on the bus go round and round, right? And maybe they can only do that one part at the end. If they can just complete the sentence, complete the analogy. Maybe it's just that one piece. And then you have them try another one. And then you're like, you know what? He's not singing the whole song, but I bet you I could come up with 10 different close tasks in this one song. I bet you he could do like the windows on the bus go. And then he could fill in, he could just say up or down or up and down. Maybe he could just do one, right?
Or maybe he just does his arms.
Right.
Right? That's
right.
fine.
Right. We find ways to simplify and make the information accessible to the child so that we can encourage and motivate the language development, right? Instead of just kind of, we have to know how to make the goals. We have to know how to make the goals instead of just saying like, well, I want him to speak in sentences. I want him to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. And we're like, we just want to start with a closed task. We're just going to start here and we're going to work him up the ladder. Once we're there, we're happy to work on that, but I think we need to meet him where he's at. So let's start with these first, right? So learning how to simplify and working with what they can do. Okay,
and we are speech therapists, so we just love to talk, and we acknowledge that. What is resonating? What do we want to hear more about? What do we still have questions about? The floor is yours.
Absolutely.
I have a question about AAC devices.
Yeah.
Because our daughter has one, but she's been slow with the uptake. And also, still learning to walk independently. You know, she's learning so many things at once. And I guess the question would be, like, how do we help incorporate that at home and then also work with the school? I volunteered in her classroom a couple times and realized that they're not even giving it to her. And so I did talk with them about that. But then my husband and I were like, well, we're not the best about always having it out either. So I guess just some like tips and tricks to incorporate it more into daily living.
I'm sure Anne is our AAC specialist. So
just to help set does anyone else in the room have an individual in their household that's using an AAC device? Okay, wonderful. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about AAC. What I see the device, right? The device itself is a tool. It's a strategy. It's part of a toolbox of our communication. So if you think about how you communicate on a daily basis, we all communicate in like probably a dozen different ways. Like right now, I am speaking, I'm gesturing, this is recorded. You can play this back, you can read it, it'll be transcribed, right? So all of that is communication. AAC, whether it's a tablet, a high-tech, low-tech tablet, picture symbols, that could include gestures too, like sign language, that is part of your toolbox. If you're gonna build a house, like this is now actually a class, we're gonna build a little model house or something, right? We would never get anywhere with just a hammer. Like we would not build anything. We wouldn't even get anywhere with just a hammer and a screwdriver. That would not build our house. We're going to need glue. We're going to need nails and screws and wood and all these other things to build our house. If we think about language like that, let's say we're going to build our communication, right? If all we're using is an AAC device, we're not going to get anywhere. If we accept that device is a pretty important part of our toolbox, but that so is everything else, then it takes the pressure off the implementation of just that device. So if you think about, like your daughter is reaching and pointing, right? If the object is in front of her, so if I'm holding this car and she wants it, there's no way that she's going to go over and get her device. The effort to get all the way over there and say car on her device is not worth it, right? She's going to point. And honestly, like if you had cookies or something right here, like I'd probably just be like, yeah, okay. And I wouldn't even really say anything. I would just gesture because that would be easier. Now, if the table in the back had the cookies, I might have to say something because that's all the way over there. So my opportunity, my setting, the environment, the communication partner is all going to dictate how I do that message. So if you point, it's not wrong. That's not bad. That's not wrong. It's not something we need to correct. You can model it on the device. You can model it verbally. You can model the sign for car. Whatever you want to do, it is valid. The communication attempt was valid if it was understood.
Right.
So think about, when you're thinking about AAC, and again, this could be low tech, high tech, whatever system your children are using, that fills in the places where you have breakdowns. So maybe we have a really effective no, right? It's this. Nope, not doing it, right? Shaking our head. So we are not probably going to say no on the AAC device. We don't need to. Why would we do that? We can shake our head. And maybe we have a pretty good point for the things that are around us. So if it's in our immediate surroundings, don't need to do it. But maybe there's something that we're not able to communicate that is seeming to reoccur over and over in those daily routines. So thinking about like at bedtime, okay? Maybe there's an opportunity there where we can say, we're going to put that device there because we don't have, maybe it's cold. Like we're noticing like they seem uncomfortable, like the blanket's wrong, whatever, and we're going to model some sort of message that they don't have an effective way for on that device, and that's when it's going to be really meaningful. So AAC is not meant to totally replace everything else we're doing. It's going to be there to fill in what we're not understanding, all of those breakdowns. And so we also see that it is implemented in a variety of ways. So like, again, if I was building a little birdhouse here versus building a whole house, I don't need a huge table saw to build my birdhouse, but I probably do to build a real house. And so if you're at school, the setting, the environment, the peers, all of that happening might necessitate AAC in a different way, more, less, different words, different models than you would at home. And I'll also just say in years of doing this, AAC is not always implemented more at home because who understands their children best? The parents, right? So you probably are going to understand them and their cues and their nonverbal communication and their gestures and all the other things they're doing better than anybody else. And so you're not going to feel like you're not going to have as many of those breakdown moments. And that's wonderful. That's okay. You're not doing any disservice to them to not have the device there then. If that makes sense?
Yeah, and so I guess then would the right approach at home be, so like what you're talking about with like the breakdown, we're noticing that a lot during mealtime. So like we'll put food on Emmy's tray and then almost instantly she's like reaching and she's like fussing and fussing and fussing. And we're like, what do you want? I don't know what you want. And we keep like going and getting more things. And, but maybe if we just put the device there, that's a good use for it. But we don't have to like follow her.
No, gosh, no. No.
Right.
No, I mean, if she is like playing with a toy that she loves and just so happy and so excited and you guys are having that moment, you don't need the device. You can have it there. You can model things. But at that exact moment where probably she doesn't like the food or she wants something different, that's when you want it there. Because that's going to bring, if that is the moment you have the time to bring it out for, that's going to go a whole lot further than you trying to chase her around all day modeling every single thing, because you're modeling verbally.
Yeah, because we struggle because I know a lot of kids will wear it.
Yeah.
She's not strong enough to wear it, so you do have to carry it for her, but that makes it hard to like implement. But it makes sense that I feel like we feel like, oh, we should be following her around with it, and we don't do that, and we feel bad, but maybe it's like, no, we're just gonna do it during mealtime because we know that's the time where she's frustrated.
And that's also a good start. Like, so then you have it at mealtime and then that becomes a habit. And then maybe you're like, you know what else is actually a problem is her morning routine with her clothes. And it's just a lot of meltdowns there. So we're going to incorporate it there. I like to say, have it charged, have it on, have it in the room, right? Like is it on the same floor as where you are? Like have it available so that you can grab it. Like you're playing and there's a meltdown. We want it to be in arms somewhere that you can grab it and bring it to allow for communication. But chasing them around with it, it's just gonna frustrate everybody. There's been a lot of research on parent feedback about implementation of AAC just in general, and the number one barrier always identified is time, which is not a surprise to anybody.
Right.
But the most effective interventions for that tend to be where you come up with a strategic plan about how you're going to use it. So you just did that. You said, I'm going to bring it out during mealtime, and so then the next step would be, and what vocabulary am I going to have available? It's going to be the foods that are available, right? And probably maybe a no or something, right? It's something that's going to like yucky. That would be a good one, or yummy, both. But you're going to plan ahead. You're going to say, this is when we're committing to doing this. Maybe we're modeling those first times. I love that idea. Like maybe you're modeling yucky and putting food on it, like pushing it away, right? Emmy's going to see that and go, oh, that sounds fun. I'm going to say yucky and push my plate away. Awesome. but you're planning out what vocabulary is going to be in there. Then you're going to model. You're going to wait. You're going to, like way back at the beginning, we talked about saying it, waiting. It's the same on the device. So like, let's say she doesn't like it, and you're modeling. Oh, yuck! You hit it. Pause. She might laugh. She might engage in some way. You go, oh, yuck. Okay, and then take it away. And we're like, maybe there's another option that you do that she tends to like. You could model like blueberries. Oh, blueberry. Okay. And then there it is. And that seems, just based off not just my experience, but like literature, that tends to help the most. Sure.
Correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
Anne. A lot of times when I see children with AAC devices, right, if they have a device, I see them as a total communication approach.
Exactly.
Right? So maybe your child is not verbal, right, yet, or we all have a primary method of communication. My primary method of communication is verbal, right? I'm verbal. I can tell you what I'm thinking or feeling. But when you're working with these children, one thing that we really can feel good about, especially when we're limited on time and it's the end of the day and we're trying to have dinner, we are feeding and nurturing and creating a total communication approach. She doesn't always have to go, it's not 100%. It's never 100% accuracy, right? Our goals are never 100% accuracy. It's never just one. She shouldn't have just one funneled method of communication, right? Maybe she can have like just one button there that says no. Maybe she doesn't need the whole device. She just wants to say no, not that one, no, right? We innately, we as human beings, we love having choices. We love options. Give your child options. It's not always going to be the application. Sometimes they can just use a sign. Sometimes they can gesture. Sometimes their facial expression is going to get the communication across, right? You're going to understand. Maybe she pushed it away. I don't need an application to tell you, I don't want that. I don't, right? Maybe I just pushed it away. What you need to understand as parents, as educators, is can the person communicate what they want or what they don't want? Whether I do it through my words, whether I do it through an app, whether I do it through my gestures, whether it's my body language. Maybe it's the way I like inhaled. Maybe it's just like, did that communicate, right? There's another, right? We have multiple ways. If I need to get in touch with my supervisor, I can call her, I can email her, I can text her, I can go to her office. I like options. Give me options. I like options. Don't give me one way. Every time I need something, I have to go to your desk. Like, I want options. Like, can I just page you over the loudspeaker? Like, give me options. Give me options. Give them options. Total communication approach. It's not just one. Yes, we have a primary, but I have a secondary, right? Bringing in that plan B. There's always a plan B, right? So think about it that way. We don't have to feel bad because I'm nurturing an entire approach. It's not just the app. But throw it in when you can. But if there's an alternative, right? Alternative measure, use that. If it's successful and effective, use that.
Mine, he uses it at school, he uses it at speech, he uses it at OT,
There you
he
go.
comes home, and I get it out, he puts it back in his backpack.
And he's done.
I get it
Yeah.
out, he puts it back in his backpack.
And that's okay.
So
Right.
he wants nothing
Right.
to
He's
do
done.
in the house.
Right. He's like,
So,
I've done that all day long.
Pluses and there's minuses.
Right.
And then he gets mad at me when I take it.
Right.
It's not always
Right.
easy to have it around all the
envision
time.
like a kid, using it.
Yeah, we
to
don't
write a
carry
speech or
our
whatever.
phones.
Our 4-year-olds do not.
No.
We don't carry it around because he won't even get it out of the backpack.
Probably because he's like, I don't need that with you.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing.
And like, there might be a time where he's like, okay, and he knows where that book bag is, and he might go get it. But he feels really safe in his communication at your home, and he's like, I don't need that.
That's nice.
Yeah.
You always feel like, yeah.
No, that's
Yeah, and we want balance in our day. I'm doing that all day long. I just want to sit here and relax.
I mean, don't we go home and not want to talk, right?
Right.
Right. That's right. I mean, we sometimes forget that our kids are little adults. They're little humans. Like they need debrief time too. They need to come home and sit in a dark room. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
you guys have great questions. More questions?
absolutely. Sure.
The one about anxiety, and I wonder, because I think a lot of
a lot of what we've talked about tonight has been like pertaining to really young kids, but I think as we get to the more elementary ages, we do see kind of this intermingling of, anxiety or other mental health things like executive function. Do you have any like tools or tips that you can think of for a child where the root of some of their communication struggles might be anxiety related? Any go-to things?
The first thing that comes to mind is just accepting other forms of communication with that. So I've seen plenty of children, even into the teen years, where social anxiety makes it so, like, we maybe just, this child and I can have a great conversation, but we go into the therapy gym and there's other kids there, nada. Maybe they want to write it down. Maybe they they want an opportunity to kind of share their thoughts in writing, or they want to share it in a picture. That can be really effective to do, even just like art, draw it, right? Get that feeling out there, get that emotion. We, at our hospital where we work, there was recently a really beautiful exhibit of art by our inpatient pain program, where adolescents with chronic pain syndrome expressed their pain in drawing. And so they wrote like sometimes it was like 3 words, sometimes it was 3 pages, but it always accompanied a picture. And so that is communication too. And when it comes to social anxiety and mental health, I would absolutely recommend seeking a professional that specializes in that area.
Right.
But one thing that we would say as speech therapists is that the words might not come easy, and that's where we can expect those other kinds of communication.
I actually enjoy working on executive function with like our teenagers and stuff. I'm learning more and more about it. But executive function, if you think about those skills, those are all skills that are related to someone becoming a productive member of society, right? Time organization, vocational skills, self-help, all those skills that maybe you don't need them to, like, I don't know, write a dissertation, but you need them to maintain a job. You need to be able to write an email. You need to be able to know how much time do I have to prep for this patient and before I get to my next one, right? I'm getting better at that. But there's all these skills. I love executive function because I always think when I'm working with especially teenagers, what's motivating to them and what can kind of, I don't want to say decrease or suppress, but can alleviate the anxiety that comes with it, is finding out what's important to you, right? Your mom came in here and your mom says that she wants you to be able to write a book report by yourself, but that's not motivating to you. What is motivating to you so that we can meet the same goal? Maybe a teenager would say to me like, well, I just want to like know how to do like a Google search. Like, I just want to know how to use the resources at the library. Like, can we work on that? Like, I had a teenager this past weekend, who we've been working on executive function, and she came in, they're in their senior year, and she wanted to work on a mock interview. And I said, yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to pretend. You're going to walk in, you're going to look at me, you're going to shake my hand, you're going to tell me your name, you're going to give me your resume. We worked on that. And those were things that took the anxiety away. Right? So
I think adults, we all need that also.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I love it. I don't know. I see her every other week, so I can tell you in a week. I don't know.
Unless you're the hiring manager. I don't know where she was.
Right.
Do you have a question?
A parent asks, how do you help encourage more communication with your child, particularly dealing with tweens and teens, when you're trying to ask them about their day?
Exactly. So I can't tell you how often we hear from parents, they won't tell me what they did today. I'm like, okay, well, there could be a lot of reasons for that, but that's
or they're curt, right? How was your day? Good. What'd you do? Nothing. Where are you going? Outside.
What'd you play? I don't know.
And you're like, can you just tell me a sentence?
Like, they're just but they're pulling you. Right? So think about, like, you had a long day at school or a long day and now you're at therapy or whatever. And I think family members are guilty of this too. Like, I remember as a kid, like, every family member at every event, what grade are you going into? How are your grades? What do you want to be when you grow up? Like, I mean, oh my gosh, like, because you just do that. But to meet them, to open that door, we don't want to have those demands. Like, none of us would enjoy that. Nobody wants, like, if Raisa and I were getting together, you know, for dinner and I came in and was like, how's your day? How's work going? How's it? That would just feel really weird. But it doesn't feel weird to us until we stop ourselves with kids. And so one way that I think could be helpful is make it, you're going to share, then they're going to share. So maybe you want to know about their day, say like, you know, you pick them up, oh my gosh, there was so much traffic on the way here. It is so busy. I can't believe it's raining. Wow. I wonder if it's going to rain tonight, you know, and you're just opening that door. I wonder, what do you think? It's not tell me. It's not you have to provide this answer right now. You're giving that door for them to join in some way without firing off these questions. And we do this for little kids too. I mean, like, who's your friend? Who'd you sit with? Blah, blah. No, okay. Like, that feels like a lot. But instead, like, wow, I had fun at home today. I missed you while you were at school. Oh, you know, and you're sharing an emotion. You're sharing what you did. You're modeling how to share that sort of information.
Yeah. Also focus on presenting like an open-ended question versus just like yes, no, you know, this, that. Just open-ended. That way it gives them room to shift the conversation. Maybe they'll introduce a topic that they do want to talk about, right? So we always tell parents, like, there's a lot of yes, no, there's a lot of pressure. There's a like, well, what happened? And then what happened? You said what? You know, just keep it open-ended. Like, oh.
Or even just, oh, wow. Oh,
Right.
okay.
Exactly. Try something like that. So give space for the teenager to open up, right? And you can also say, if you have somebody who their body language is telling you like, I just don't want to talk about this, you can introduce certain areas and you can say like, we can talk about it when you're ready. And if you're not, okay, we can do that next time. Just being flexible again, like putting the ball in their court. Like, okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yay. Okay.